With sports talk worldwide, and I'm bringing some boxing. So you know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now this one could get long, y'all. This one could get long, cause this news is Vasyl Lomachenko is about to fight the only dude to have defeated him up until now, Orlando Salido. Now Lomachenko, what is he? 7-1 with 5 KOs, two-time division champion already. You know, taking only significant fights. He told his team, "I'm gonna come in. I don't got no time for all these fights. You know, the build-up fights, soft touches, whatever you want to call them. You know what I mean? He don't got time for that. One significant fight after another, right? Salido, 43, 13, and 4. 13 losses, 4 draws. He was in a barn burner against Vargas, right? Not too long ago. So he's coming off with momentum too. You know, he's feeling good about himself. Much prop to Salido for taking the fight in the first place, right? People talking about how dangerous Lomachenko is. Salido's like, well, bring it. So hats off. Good that these guys are about to meet. And let me, you gotta tip your hat to Lomachenko, because this is what champions do. People who have confidence in their talents, who feel like, well, that was just an aberration. I'm gonna go back and handle my business for sure. I got to get that off of my thing. Can't be having no losses. The champs go back and handle that. The Ali's of the world, the Lennox Lewis's, Sugar Ray Leonard's. I'm pretty sure you guys got more people who go back. Obviously Mayweather, but he didn't have to lose. Somebody just said something close with Mayweather. He gonna go handle that. So the good fighters feel like, wait a minute, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna grab Salido. I'm not gonna have that loss on my record. Kidding me? So this is what champions do. Maybe Amir Khan, Vladimir Klitschko, Abner Mares. I was at that Mares fight when he got knocked out in round 1 against Gonzalez. So, you might want to go back and handle that. They didn't do it. Vladimir never did. Khan, one of the only fighters to irk me. Fighters don't irk me because I know it's a business. I'm old enough to understand that's a business too, so I don't really get irked. But Amir Khan trying to back into a Mayweather fight, and won't even go handle your own business, that irked me. It was ridiculous, I thought. So, but that's a whole different thing. Don't let it get long. Good. Back to Lomachenko, handle your business. Go get Salido in March. Guys, I hope you are ready for that. That's going to be a significant fight, because then, after that fight, if he beats Salido too, which he ain't the only one, let's make this also clear. Your nemesis, right, can't be somebody that got 13 losses. So the pressure is on Lomachenko anyway. If you're going to be this top 5 pound for pound kind of guy, you can't have no nemesis that lost 13 fights. So he has to go ahead and handle this business. There's no doubt about it if we're going to continue to talk about him in the top 5 pound for pound. And believe me, HBO will. And speaking of HBO, hey, just compare him to Burger King. When the last time you heard Burger King doing advertising about how good McDonald's burgers are? Don't happen, does it? But that's why HBO has a narrative, most of the time about their own fighters. So, but just some of them, I don't understand why, but we'll get into that. But so anyway, I think Lomachenko, hats off to him. This is going to be good. We'll talk about who might win when it gets closer to the fight, right? Now, we have this thing going on. I'm hearing that Lomachenko is the runaway fighter of the year candidate. And he could be leading. But when you start saying runaway, then your antenna might go up a little bit. Hold up now. Runaway? Now, you've had 2 fights. You fought Martinez. Dude had 2 losses and 3 draws before you met him. That means that was 5 fights that was in right there already where somebody solved his puzzle, basically. You knocked him out emphatically. Awesome. He had another fight against Walters, and let's not diminish that. That was huge. Walters had a year off, but that was still huge to beat Nicholas Walters. He was undefeated. That's 2 fights. You should be considered fighter of the year. There's no doubt about that. You should be considered. But runaway, when Terrence Crawford is right there, now I'm going to say why I'm going to mention Terrence Crawford is he was in the second most significant fight of the year with Victor Postol. Now, a lot of us do after the fight, we try to diminish what a fighter was before the fight. Victor Postol and Crawford was 50-50 fight. People were telling Crawford he was scared to fight this man, right? He was undefeated, just came off of beating Lucas Matisse, which a lot of people don't do, right? If you're not, your name ain't Danny Garcia or something, right? So this was huge. This guy was somebody that other people did not want to get in the ring with. Danny Garcia, for example. I'm just saying, so before that fight, that guy was something to be dealt with. And when you tell a fighter he's scared to fight him and he fights him and beats him convincingly, you understand? Convincingly. And then you beat Hank Lundy convincingly, which a lot of people don't do. But here's where Crawford, I think, gets the edge. He didn't have to fight. He was done for the year. But that December 10th date just opened up. And to say, you know, oh, let me just fight another fight and then pick Molina and beat him like that, I think Crawford has the edge here, right? And fighter of the year. So people that don't know when you're voting, right? Y'all sitting in the we gonna vote room, right? Make sure you got Terrence Crawford, his name in your head. And another name that, you know, we Americans, we try to think that something has to go down in our country for it to be significant. Well, let's get off our high horse and, you know, cut down on the arrogance a little something, something. Because Joseph Parker has had 5 fights, okay? And won a heavyweight title, WBO. Had 5 fights. And I'm going to say something about them 5 fights. He had 5 fights. I'm going to just mention this too. And he fought in December of 2015. All right? You're going to have 5 fights in 2016 and fight in December, which is basically 6 fights. And 4 of those 5 guys had only had 1 loss, right? And so you beat undefeated Ruiz too, you know, and the other guys he beat. On my head, I don't know, Dimitrenko, Carlos Takam when he was top 10. So just mention his name. Someone, whoever fought 5 times against significant people should at least be mentioned. Let's not just go, let's say a fight of the year and run away with a dude who had 2 fights. All right, one had 5 and did pretty well in them, and the other one had 3 and had the second most significant fight of the year. So that should not be a runaway. Let me just say that. Shouldn't be a runaway. So that's my only thing to that. Now, should it be considered? Of course. But runaway is a little bit too much. Let's put Joseph Parker's name out there and definitely Terrence Crawford. Right? Now, let me say something else. Why when I hear that some people are boring. When I talk about fighters under 140 pounds, right? That's under that junior welterweight division. Once we get down there, even though we're talking about Lomachenko right now and his heart, going back, handling his business against the guy who defeated him. Every time that I talk about those divisions lower, I will mention the name Guillermo Rigondeaux, right? Because I am not assuming I'm talking to people that are in the know. I'm assuming I'm talking to casuals, my level or less, somebody that I'm giving information to. Guys, go look at Guillermo Rigondeaux, right? He's in that 122 division. He was 118. Watch all the fights he's had, all how much bigger these guys are. He's breaking jaws of his last 3 or 4 opponents. They're calling him boring. And then they'll say the other guy has ring generalship, right? Now, is ring generalship going to be good sometimes or all the time? So right now, ring generalship is good, right? So if we're gonna all agree that ring generalship is good, then it is good. Well, Rigondeaux is generalshipping his butt off, right? 11 people from 17 been knocked out. People's jaws are hanging all on the ground, on the canvas, right? And nobody's touching the man. He's fighting people way bigger than him just to get fights, and people are running out of the division to fight somewhere else. So when I talk about divisions under junior welterweight that I don't like to anyway, but if I do, I'm going to mention that name because that's the biggest injustice in boxing, and that is the most avoided fighter in boxing right now. I'm just going to say that. I don't know if there's someone else, but there's no one that people are just leaving divisions for. So that's what has to be said. So when you see that I'm talking about someone under junior welterweight, and you hear me start talking about Rigondeaux, then go get you something to eat. Because I'll still be talking about him by the time you get back. Because it's an injustice. But to conclude, you guys, Lomachenko is going to fight the only dude to beat him, Orlando Salido, and it should be a barn burner. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide, and I'm up out of here.